everyone, welcome to today's podcast episode. This is the first of a new series where I will be inviting fellow translators and interpreters to learn about them and discuss interesting topics. So, today, for the first episode, I am absolutely thrilled to introduce you to Sarah Tiemann. Sarah is a renowned interpreter's business coach, passionate about helping fellow interpreters find amazing clients and build thriving freelance careers. With over 12 years of experience as a successful conference interpreter for German and English, Sarah brings a wealth of knowledge and insight into the interpreting world. She's the founder of the Interpreters Practice Network, a group that I'm also a part of, a dynamic community where she's on a mission to shift the interpreting culture from a competitive shark tank to a supportive fountain of inspiration and cooperation. Sarah truly believes there's enough success to go around for everyone, and her work reflects that belief. Welcome, Sarah. How are you?
Wow, thank you
Thanks
so
for joining
much.
today.
Thank you. Thank you for this great introduction, Daniela. So great to be here. I'm super thrilled as well.
Amazing, amazing. You're in Germany at the moment, right?
Yes. I'm currently in Germany, in my hometown, and really enjoying some family time. Really good.
Amazing, amazing. So tell us a little about your work. How do you work? Do you work freelance 100%? Do you travel a little bit? How do you work?
Yeah, so I'm a freelance interpreter, like you just said, for English and German, full-time freelance, have been since 2012, and my specialty field is market research, and my actual passion is being the interpreter's business coach at my TERPS practice network, where I help fellow colleagues to find fantastic clients and build a thriving freelance interpreting business. Because like you said, like I think all of us freelance interpreters, we have experienced the kind of the interpreting culture as that of a shark tank. And I always felt a bit like out of place, like this cannot be. There must be the others that think like me, like-minded colleagues. And my dream was to build a community with exactly those like-minded colleagues. And this is what the TERPS Practice Network is today.
I love that. And that's actually how we met, Sarah, right? It was in 2020. I remember it was the pandemic where everybody wanted to connect. But yeah, I mean, your group is fantastic. You have how many members by now?
Well, I have a Facebook group there. Officially, you can reach 3,000 plus members, which is amazing. And of course, there are also many inactive members over the years, and also many that are in the language industry or also not, that just found the group and found it intriguing. So now I have shifted the actual intimate interpreters group to a new platform called School. And there are 78 members at the moment, really active. We meet every week, every Wednesday at our live topic related or spotlight speaker session at the TERPS Practice Network.
That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And I know you spend so much, time, resources, and dedication to build both groups. So, if you're an interpreter and you're listening, definitely Sarah's group is the one that you need to join. Not only you get to practice, but you also get advice from Sarah on how to grow your business, how to get more clients. And at the end of the day, that's something that we all want to thrive together. So, absolutely fantastic group. I was there as well. Um, Great. So, let's dive in today's topic. So, Sarah and I met some time ago to discuss about the impact of AI, right? So, in the new year of 2024, with the rampant usage of AI, as all of you know, how can translators and interpreters survive? So today with Sarah, we'll talk about how to use AI for finding clients. So using AI to our advantage, right? So to use it maybe for content and writing SEO, we'll show you an example of how we use ChatGPT to create online content and how we can use it to keep our SEO ranking, how to use maybe AI for marketing and prospecting clients, how to leverage AI instead of considering it a threat, basically. So get ready to dive in today's conversation. and discover our tips on how to survive and thrive in the AI-focused business environment. So first of all, Sarah, we have to acknowledge the fact that we live in a changed world, right? Where the new generative AI models and more companies are using AI instead of the traditional services, translation being one of the first areas impacted by it. Have you already heard about companies or even maybe some of your customers who are already using AI for translation and therefore not working with a translator or interpreter? What are some, let's say, talking points that translators and interpreters can use to persuade their customers to go for a human translation instead of an AI generated one?
Yeah, thank you, Daniela, for the question, which is a really great question. So first of all, I think every interpreter or translator has to decide one thing, and then I will answer your two questions. So first of all, do you see AI or technology in general as your friend or as your enemy, let's say? And this is a decision that you have to make consciously, because otherwise you will drown, let's say. Technology develops, advancements happen, and progress takes place in the world, and this is good. So I'm a fan of saying AI technology is our friend. Let's use it to our advantage and go with the changes, because they happen if you want it or not. So better for you to want it. Otherwise, you already are yourself your biggest barrier. So, and to your question, yes, in written translation, I have experienced that customers use machine translation tools. For interpreting, I have not experienced that yet. And yeah, what can I say? So I don't do many written translations, actually. I mainly focus on interpreting. That's my passion. And I'm still an active interpreter as well, and which I think is really good with our TAPS practice network. We are all active interpreters, and Daniela, you as well, and the translator. So we all kind of stay up to date also how the industry works, including the development with the technology. And for written translations, I would say yes, the industry has already changed dramatically. There are, I think, by now many post-editing assignments, so where the translator gets a pre-translated, machine-generated translation document, and then they have to post-edit it. So whether it actually takes more time or less time than doing the translation from scratch, I cannot really judge, because as I said, I do little translations. The translations that I do get, I actually do them from scratch. I don't get post-editing jobs so far at the moment. It just doesn't come up yet. So, and I think here the clients still want the human factor in it. They have realized it's still also work to post-edit it, and sometimes it's just easier for us translators to take the original text in the original language and translate it from there, rather than taking the machine-generated text and then comparing it and then having to rewrite it as well if need be. However, those tools are also improving, we have to say. You know, maybe DeepL or anything. I mean, I'm not I don't get commissions by them or so, but the translations are really good that it delivers. So this is definitely something we translators and interpreters have to watch out for and pay attention to, and is already there in the written translation field. Interpreting is verbal, as you know, so there, in my experience, it hasn't arrived yet, but who knows how many years it will still take. However, there I think it's still more complicated to be replaced by an AI, because interpreters have the emotional part as well, right? They really need to understand the message that the speaker wants to convey, not only word by word. They don't interpret word by word, they interpret the actual message of a given sentence. And there's the emotional factor, a body language, facial expression. All of this, I think AI cannot do a good job in yet.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's a good opportunity for translators to change a bit their career, right? And also maybe consider becoming interpreters. I know that at least in the UK, there's such a big need for community interpreters. We talked about this before, right? So, of course, you know, the translation world goes through cycles. We experienced this, you know, back in 2007, 2008 when the usage of Google Translate was so prevalent, right? That it cut a lot of the translation jobs, and interpreting also was impacted. I remember a combination between using AI or machine translation then, as well as the economical crisis, which is similar to the post-pandemic era we are now in different countries at different levels in their development, can result into also having less conferences, less money spent on interpreting assignments and so on. But I think the key is to be flexible and be flexible with the assignments that you get. You can do very well post editing if that's the new era we live in. You just have to think about how to invoice it, and this is something that we've discussed at the CL conference in London, right, at the Chartered Institute of Linguists conference, that we just have to adapt to the task. Is it more like a QA, post-editing, translation, but also, again, the need for specialized translators and specialized interpreters, which is more and more prevalent. And why? Because a lot of translators have jumped ship, right? One, being not maybe receiving enough translation orders, but also being a bit afraid, right, of what's going on. So instead of maybe trying to embrace it, right, or try to adjust their skills. And interestingly, there is now a need in more specialized work, meaning, I'm specializing in the medical field and legal. There are others specializing in technical and so on. Yeah, that's an interesting approach. How have you used AI so far? So yeah, I assume you are considering AI as a friend. So how have you used it so far, both in your personal experience as well as in your professional life?
I have used AI, and I mainly use it for my TERPS practice network and social media. So I promote my TERPS practice networks meetings on social media, and I write emails. And here by now, I use we all know it by now, ChatGPT, and I tell ChatGPT what to write. So I give it a few keywords and of course a date, time, Zoom, or place, and so on, and tell them to write an engaging email and a fun Facebook post, and it writes it, and the output is pretty amazing. This is what I've been using AI for mainly.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so fast and it can pick up, different tones. And if you feed it some content, right, or if you just give it the link to your Facebook page or to your website, it can create very, very similar content and save you so much time, right? Because at the end of the day, marketing, right, and social media takes just so much time from our plate.
Absolutely, it saves time. And for client acquisition as well, you can use it to help you write your emails. So no fear anymore of cold emails, or it can generate you your telephone script. So it's really, really amazing and can save you time and give you a feeling of more confidence because you have something to orientate yourself on.
Absolutely. I actually read a blog post a few days ago, getting ready for this conversation, where it can even give you marketing strategies if you use the right prompts, meaning that if you use the right instructions, right? So ask your questions, be very specific about what you want from ChatGPT. It can even give you some marketing strategies. It can tell you, where do you position yourself against, let's say, the competition, or me, for instance, because I have a small boutique agency for the Romanian language. How do you position yourself? Who are your customers? How do you strategize your marketing, and so on? So it's pretty cool. So it's not only for content writing, but it can actually give you tips on how to approach clients and what to tell them, and also adjust it culturally. For instance, here in England, where I live, um, customers tend to like more the face-to-face approach, so they don't really like the long marketing emails where you're trying to, cold market yourself. So it's really interesting. You can actually adjust it dependent on the market and on the culture.
Absolutely. And it can help you with all of the points that you are so afraid of, oh, I don't like talking about my strengths. I don't know what my USP is. Well, ask your ChatGPT. Feed it, of course. You have to feed it a bit about yourself. Tell them what your languages are, what fields you have been translating or interpreting in, and a bit more. So really like speak to it kind of, and then ask it. So what would you say are my three biggest strengths that I should highlight for client acquisition, or what is my USP, and see what comes out of it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I actually tested it for blog post writing. I want to automate my blog post writing. Let me show everyone if I can share my screen. I can show them an example. Let me see an example of how it works, and let me know if you can see it.
Yes, it works.
Amazing, amazing. Perfect. So I've actually asked ChatGPT, first of all, if they can create a blog post article for my website. And absolutely, um, it was more than thrilled to help. So when we say prompts, we really want to set the tone, right? So we want to be really specific about what we want. So I've actually used this from a blog post that I read. I'm absolutely not a SEO content marketing specialist, but I wanted to find what's the right phrasing or what's the right prompt to use for this scenario. So I said, you're the SEO content writer for the website, and I've added my website so that it can actually see it and take content from it. And you need to help Google understand what the website is about. So create a topic cluster of 10 keywords for the topic Romanian translator. So what does this do? It actually generates titles for potential blog posts, and it's really good. And we included the long tail keywords, which is basically a way for Google to identify your website in the pool of other which are exactly the same. And here's what it came back with, and this is actually spot on. It has taken the different types of translation services that I provide from my website. So it summarized everything really well from all my pages. It has given me some ideas on how to approach it. So I actually have 10 different blog post articles I can create, and the titles, which are really spot on, really catchy. I think they are really well written. And then I went further to say, okay, please create a 150 words blog article, which is a very short chunk of text, but just to show it to you about Romanian legal document translation services and setting the tone as well, maybe to include a bit of light humor. And here's what I got back, which is really, really interesting. Um, and it has also added some humor. After all, in the legal world, there's no room for lost in translation moments.
This is
Loved
really
it.
amazing. And what is also really great is that it does sound like you. So it's really important to make it learn your personality, so it is in your tone of voice. So when I promote my TERPS networks practice network meeting, of course I want it also to sound like me, like, you know. So this is really cool. So it's not just like, oh, machine generated and not yourself. No, it is because you feed it. You can store the history of your previous content, and it can learn from this. Like you Daniela just said, it can take content from your website, for example, and then it learns already about you and your personality as well.
Yeah, and it's amazing that every conversation you have with ChatGPT is recorded, and it actually remembers what prompt you've given to it before, so you don't have to constantly feed your profile if you want tone or content. So it's pretty amazing. How much time have you saved, Sarah, using ChatGPT for your social media
Oof.
posts?
Oh, I cannot tell you in hours now or anything like this, but a lot of time, I think. Also, I use, if I have to give you a number, I'm sure like 5 hours per week, certainly, at least, if not more, because of this like blog article. How long do you normally need to write a blog article? A day, right? I mean,
Yes.
And now it's like in an hour maybe, because maybe you want to perfect it a bit, adjust it, or even less than an hour. Really, it's amazing.
Absolutely. Yes, me too. I was thinking 20 hours for sure per
Yeah,
month. Definitely. It's a lot.
yeah,
So besides
absolutely.
content writing, how can we use AI and Chat GPT for finding or prospecting clients?
Yeah,
What are some ideas?
I think, yeah, we've already listed quite a few. So, of course, your social media content, blog articles. This is more like the passive client acquisition, I like to call it, because you put yourself out there and clients can find you and read about you and your content. The other aspect is active client acquisition, so cold emails, cold calling, meaning you find a company online. You can also use ChatGPT for this, for finding prospects. You can say, please find me companies in this sector that use these and these languages, potentially even have already worked with interpreters. You can try out and see what comes out. Um, However, still always use your common sense and remember that ChatGPT is still a machine after all. It is artificial intelligence and has learned or is learning from everything that's in the internet. So it can also make mistakes and it can hallucinate. So it's also possible that it gives you an answer, but it's not necessarily the truth. So always just beware of this. And I actually would like to come back to a question you asked at the beginning as well about how to convince, I think, existing customers to maybe not use AI translation and rather opt for a human, right? A human translator. So here, what came to mind to me just now is also, first of all, again, like you as a interpreter translator, decide to maintain a growth mindset. So if you already kind of switch off when you hear your client or prospect ask you about, oh, so do you also do post editing, or what about this? I did this with AI or whatever. Then it's already like you are closed off, and this energy probably comes across to your client in this conversation, because we are all human beings and susceptible to those things, tone of voice, if it's on the phone, or body language, facial expression, and so on. So just beware of this, and decide yourself, how do you want to feel about it, or how do you want to think about it, and then steer into this direction. And so if there's a customer that wants to use machine translation, you can ask yourself, do you want this or not? And this is a decision you have to make. And do you want to work with clients that only do post editing or not? So first decide, but then stand by your decision. Don't decide for it, but actually internally you are like, oh, yeah, I actually don't want this. And oh, okay, I take it. But then you have this frustration feeling. This is not good for the quality that you will deliver, not for the client relationship. And everything else. So this will affect your business. So do it in a way that you feel good about it. If you cannot feel good about it, then don't do it. Then find a different way. And then here often our brain says, oh, but then I don't find any jobs, and it goes down this negative spiral, and then I will live under the bridge or whatever, But stop your brain spiraling this way, because often it's, although in this case, hopefully never, it's a truth. Think about whom do you actually know that lives under the bridge, right? So think about it, and okay, it's my brain catastrophizing. So, and
Yeah.
here the growth mindset comes into play. So it is a development. If you don't want to do it, think about what other options do you have. Find clients then that don't work with machine translation, or that won't prefer the human factor. Find new clients, or feel about or ask your client, are they open for humans? So it's about, is your client already fixed on the decision? Then you probably cannot do anything. Are they still open for it? Then jump in and give them arguments like, I think we discussed it already as well, like it might actually, depending on the machine translation quality, take you more time to post edit it than translating it from scratch. So this is a good
Right.
argument.
Absolutely. And if the customers are contacting you, because we are all online, right? One way or another. We have our websites or we have our Facebook pages. And if they contact us, we can always give options, right? As translators, one, we can give an option for machine translation, and you can have a certain fee, and then you can have a different pricing for humanly edited translation, or just human translation 100%. And we know that machine translation has been on the market for so long, right? I think it's been more than 20 years when from where the translators have already started using the computer assisted tools. But we still relied on reviews and revisions. So most of that work was still manual. So it all depends on depending on what's the customer budget. I think that's okay. And if they believe that the quality is good for machine translation, we can help out. For those of you who are listening, um, translating using Chat GPT or other platforms that do machine translation is not that easy. If you have a 100 pages document, you have to input in it really small chunks of text, which takes you forever. If you have formatting, forget about it because Chat GPT would not format it for you. If you have scanned documents, that doesn't work anyway. So at the end of the
Terrible.
day, it can be like a tedious job. So it's a matter of you can ask your translator for what you need depending on your budget. But sometimes you can even be surprised that you can get a really good humanly edited or humanly translated document at a really competitive pricing. And it really depends for what you need it, right? Because companies, I don't believe in that companies who need translation or interpreting in very rare or niche languages or even in specialized fields would go to machine translation, really. I think, having your online presence spot on and as clear as possible and having everything like really professionally written is paramount, right? In the era of you and thousands or hundreds or millions of other businesses, the translation or interpreting is your quality mark, and it is what differentiates you. And let's not forget that with AI, um, there are a lot of there's a lot of increase in spam, right? Or a lot of increase in fraud, a lot of increase in other aspects. So we have to be mindful of that and educate our customers to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Yes. Hmm.
Yeah, and being specialized, right? Sarah, you're also a specialized interpreter. Talk to us a little about your field and about the need of specializing in a certain area and being that point of contact where customers or companies can always come to you when they need a professional interpreter.
Yeah, gladly. First of all, also for all of those listening now that think, oh God, I don't have a specialty field. I just want to get interpreting jobs. All good, all good. We all started off this way. You can start with client acquisition very broadly and, research in this field, technology or business, and then in the other field, marketing. Go for it, opt for it. Don't let this big barrier of, oh, I need a specialization hinder you. No, it will come over time. So I specialized in also medical marketing interpreting, and I say marketing interpreting because it's mainly in market research, and medical because actually what most people, or fun fact about me, maybe not many people know it, I studied actually human medicine for 2 years. And then I switched. I dropped out. I dropped out of medical school. I admit it, and switched to languages then. And yeah, but this again, I turned this into with a growth mindset into a positive, into my big superpower now, because with this, I could now do client acquisition and say, hey, I am your medical interpreter. I'm specialized in this because I am. And so, yeah, this is my field. And but again, those that don't feel that I have a specialty field, don't worry, go broadly and then decide in learning by doing which field is actually the most fun, and then it comes about. And you can still take other assignments. I still, of course, also take assignments that are not in the medical field, that are completely of a different topic, but it's fun. We're interpreters. We can prepare for anything because we prepare for an assignment anyway, right? So this is, don't let this fear hinder you in doing client acquisition. And I feel like I
Absolutely.
forgot a part of your question. Maybe you can repeat, but I think I
No,
forgot the
no, yeah,
second
you've
part.
you've
Yeah.
responded really, really well to it. And you're You're absolutely right. And if, there are listeners from the UK, there's so much need of interpreters in all the areas. You can work with translation agencies. They are looking for interpreters. Again, we're doing a lot of phone interpreting, remote interpreting, less conference interpreting, as much as I would like to, because I am a conference interpreter. But there are a lot of opportunities, and obviously you don't need to be specialized, especially working with translation agencies, and you can get your experience from different fields. So it is definitely a good era to be in the interpreting world. And there is this need of human interaction, right? So I think with the usage of AI, also the need for people to get together. So there are networking events where you can meet companies. Don't be afraid to go and introduce yourself, because you don't know who will recommend you. So let's not just stay in the online world. Let's, get outside. We are post a pandemic where we are no longer forced to, live and work out of our living rooms. um yeah, what do you think about that, Sarah? How are you meeting also clients in person?
Absolutely, yeah, and this is actually also this is maybe even underestimated. So, dear interpreters listening, if you have existing clients, maintain the relationship to this. And a good option is to offer them to visit them in their office in person. Really, you will be amazed how surprised some will be because apparently nobody gets this idea. But this is like maintaining the relationship. You show that you care. You take the time to go there in their office and have a coffee with them. So this is so easy. It's really just no special reason. It's really just and just say it as it is bluntly. You just want to drop by. You are nearby at this and this day. Whether you could drop in for coffee. Nothing complicated. Yeah. So totally in person. Make use of it when you can.
Absolutely. I actually have a funny story too, uh about this. I was thinking, so I have been moving more towards the public notaries and solicitors area, in an effort to obviously increase my legal translation orders. And initially, I was thinking, what can I do? Should I, write these extensive marketing emails? Should I do a video to introduce myself, or what can I do to get more clients? And you know what? I've actually decided to take my leaflets and go and see them in person. So I started with my, local, with the local ones, and they were so happy to meet me in person. They actually said, "You're the first person to come with your marketing stuff and introduce yourself in so many years. You're the first one, because everybody's just sending, this email marketing, these marketing emails that are very, neutral and sometimes very rigid and so on." And yeah, they were thrilled, and they've offered me coffee, and they've offered me to recommend me to other people. So that
Yeah,
was
and it
that
makes
was
a big
amazing.
difference, exactly. And they remember you forever now because you were the first person, absolutely. And of course, like don't get me wrong, I love online interpreting because I love traveling and now making use of it, work and travel. Um, as I said, now I'm currently in Germany, but I'm also often in the UK. Then within Germany, I'm in my hometown or in Berlin. So I absolutely love it. It's it's just the cherry of the cake, right? When you then can like tell your client that you normally are in contact with remotely, hey, actually, oh yeah, in Berlin, can I come and visit you? Or when I had an assignment in a different city and I knew, oh, I have a client who's based there, I contacted them and this was the story. Like they were really super surprised and super happy, although in the sense of welcoming me warm-heartedly. Um, so Germans are warm-hearted guys. So really, and it was really super nice. And also, I will also remember this now. And I love my clients. It's like it's amazing. It's really really a good way of maintaining your clients, and then also continuing, of course, getting assignments.
Of
Absolutely.
course, people work with people, so let's not forget
Yeah.
it, especially now when we're so bombarded by emails and marketing and content being thrown out there. And also for those of you who are listening, interpreters or translators, if you want to target a specific field or multiple fields, you can, if you don't know who your clients are yet, just go and scout what are some of the meetups, right? Maybe they do an expo, like Legal X, for instance. I was there a couple of months ago just to talk to, solicitors and notaries who are not there, by the way, for translation services, but just to network. If you're in the medical field, there are so many, I'm sure in all countries, there are so many expos where you can go and meet them and leave your marketing materials there and talk to them in person, and they will remember you because generally at these events you have the senior people or the company representatives, and it's so much better. So if you can do in person, just go in and do it. If you can also meet your fellow translators and interpreters and get some feedback from them, right? See how things are going, what they're trying, what's working, what is not working. But yeah, people I think nowadays are traveling more, they are exhibiting more their businesses, and there's an opportunity to go where the clients are, and the clients aren't only online, so they are also meeting up, and you
Yeah.
get clusters of clients you can tap into.
And also don't shy away if you get an invitation from a client, for example, to their summer party, then maybe your first reaction is like, oh my gosh, this fear thing. And no, overcome this and go and socialize with them, take them up on the invitation, really. It's such a great opportunity.
I love that, which makes me jealous. Nobody invited me to their summer parties, so now I have to do something about it.
That's what I mean. Like you said, people work with people, and like you can really develop like a super great relationship with your clients. Really, look, I've the most amazing clients. I really love my clients. Really, yeah. Mm.
Absolutely, absolutely. If I can just give you a piece of advice from what I've been doing in the past 18 months, I would say. So I started to join different entrepreneur groups. They started recommending me. Then I started to go and, meet clients at different expos. It has opened so many doors without me doing anything, just being there present and people remembering me and recommending me. It is truly outstanding tapping into our network, meeting people and just being there present is fantastic. But do something that I've learned last week. So last week I've joined an amazing webinar hosted by Dawn Johnson, who's one of the most amazing public speaking and networking coaches that I've met. By the way, at another networking event 2 years ago, and I remembered her. So I saw a post on LinkedIn, and she said something very interesting. Do intentional networking. So when you go and either talk to customers or you talk to fellow translators or interpreters, be really crisp in your presentation. Also try to include something personal. So don't only talk about your business because people won't necessarily remember that. Talk about something personal. So get them to know you a little bit, but also have a plan. So what do you want to talk to them about? Or what do you need from them? What do you want them to contact you for? And do the proper follow-up afterwards. If you get some contacts and if you get people interested, just schedule a meeting or a call with them. So don't just rely on AI to write the emails back and forth. This is a joke, but don't rely on the online context. Just make sure
Absolutely.
to follow up. But I love this
Yeah.
intentional networking. So be intentional in the way you talk to people.
Exactly. I already think about a bit like, okay, what you just said about, okay, there's a networking event, we will have beverages and something to eat, but exactly what do I want to say when we go round to the round robin, like introducing yourself, what will I say? And what kind of person am I looking for? And then sit yourself consciously next to that person, and all those things. It's great. I love it. I absolutely love it. And regarding the Shark Tank mentality again, if you're afraid now to meet colleagues at a networking event, new colleagues that you don't know yet, you know, don't be afraid to be yourself. be yourself, and then you will attract colleagues that like you. If you fake it, you might attract some colleagues, but in the long run, it won't last because you were not really you, right? You put on this facade. Oh, I'm a businesswoman. I need to put on my costume or whatever, and just talk really, I don't know, like factually now or whatever. No, bring in your personality, like you, Daniela, just said, and don't be shy. Stand by your personality, and yeah, you will put off some people maybe, but it's like in normal life, not everybody likes you, and this is okay. You're still a good person, a worthy person. This doesn't define your worth, and it will happen anyway. So do it the easiest way for you, and the easiest way is just be yourself.
Absolutely, I love that. And sometimes I shy out too, right? And I'm a very outgoing person. But practice, don't stop. Don't do it once and think like me, right? The first times, oh my God, I didn't say the right words. I forgot to say that. I've only said like one phrase, or I haven't introduced myself properly, or I was too nervous. Practice, do it again and again and again, and you will become so much better.
And I also loved your joke about AI just now, because it illustrated wonderfully that AI is our support, not a replacement, right? So it supports us in the same way it can support maybe customers with translations, but it doesn't replace us. And yeah, it doesn't replace our communication. We still have to think ourselves and get in touch with the client at some point ourselves as well, and do the follow up, take the action.
Absolutely, absolutely. Using AI for our advantage, and we are the ones using AI, right? Not the other way around. Um, Automation is key. Some weeks ago, I had the chance to participate to a really great keynote. Alex Cernătescu is a Romanian expert on the usage of AI, right? And we can use it so well for automation. But before we use it for automation, and what I mean by automation meaning creating, let's say, social media content. Maybe you want to add some frequently asked questions on your website, right? And have a plugin. We have to we have to be ready for that. So we have to have the processes really clear in our mind. So a good exercise is to map what you do every week, right? As a translator, as an interpreter, as a solopreneur, entrepreneur, and so on. Just put together a list of the activities that you do every week for your business and see what can you automate, right? What are some of the tasks you can automate? Maybe you set yourself some reminders. Maybe you are losing time to listen to some recordings, right? Or you need some documents to be compiled for you to use them, or any other tasks. Just draw a list of those and start from there. What exactly can you use it for? Where do you lose most of your time? Is it content writing? Is it, email marketing? Is it answering to customer questions? Something that I do, right? Because I work with the Romanian community and I have to give them advice on how to register their documents. How do I automate that? I can ask ChatGPT to help me with that, right? So I can actually copy paste all the answers I've provided to customers on WhatsApp or Facebook or email and so on, and to automate that, right? And then I can use this information every time someone is asking me for it. So just an example. So think about that. And also there, I have a very, good friend of mine who's so interested in AI. So, and she's a translator actually, and she's opened herself to getting offers from other companies on AI. It can be AI testing, it can be, QA testing or some other tasks in AI. Try to see what it is about. Maybe it will create a completely different career. I don't know, Sarah, if you started receiving emails from, different companies who are using AI, they need linguists. They need human linguists who can test things out, right? It doesn't work on their own. So just being open to it.
Yeah, so other jobs will open up again, like with every development in history. If you look at history, even when jobs got scrapped, there was always like new jobs that opened up and were developed as well. This is also what I mean by maintaining a growth mindset. Take the challenge as a way to advance yourself and develop further.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Amazing. Well, Sarah, this was really great. We have some really good content for our viewers, both the interpreters and the translators. I will add also your group's link in the description. So when I post this video, you will have it and you'll be able to join Sarah's group. I highly recommend it, especially for those of you who are interpreters or who want to become interpreters. If you also need advice on how to become an interpreter or a sworn translator in the UK, please feel free to contact me. There is another live recording that we've done together with Sarah on this topic, especially for the UK market. So I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions. And yeah, any final words, Sarah, before we wrap up?
Well, it was really amazing.
I'm
So thrilled to be here, and also everybody listening. I can really also recommend ask Daniela about being a sworn translator in the UK. She's really your go-to expert for that. Yeah, it was really great to be here.
no, thank you. Thanks, Sarah.
Bye bye.
Mhm.